I urge you to choose Chicago. I urge you to choose America. And if you do, if we walk this path together, then I promise you this: the city of Chicago and the United States of America will make the world proud.
Urging, clearly not enough. Chicago, the first city to be eliminated in the competition for the 2016 Olympics, perhaps making President Obama's trip the largest presidential waste of time in history.
A long flight just got a lot longer. Top Line starts right now.
Hello and welcome to ABCNews.com's Top Line. I'm David Chalian.
And I'm Rick Klein.
Each weekday, we're bringing you the very latest political headlines, reporting, insight, analysis, everything you need and want to know about politics.
And you can keep that conversation going all day long via Twitter. It's twitter.com/TheNote. Let us know what you think.
Unbelievable, Rick. Get us started.
Rejected. Chicago's bid for the 2016 Olympics is rejected immediately by the International Olympic Committee. President Obama is on board Air Force One, headed back to the United States after making an impassioned plea along with his wife in the early hours Eastern time this morning. And the IOC sends a message, well, that's nice that you came and saw us, but sorry.
Clearly, the team of political operatives who sort of perfected counting caucus goers in Iowa have no idea how to count IOC votes, because they thought by putting him on that plane, certainly it was more likely than not that he would bring the Olympics home, not come in last place, and obviously the second city just a bruised ego today out there in Chicago. Well, one benefit of the flight to Copenhagen, face-to-face meeting with General McChrystal. That is what President Obama did at the tail end of his Copenhagen jaunt. Take a look at this picture here. President Obama on board Air Force One with General Stanley McChrystal, his top military guy in Afghanistan. McChrystal, as you know, Rick, was in London. He had given a speech there. And so the president apparently on Wednesday, after they had a meeting, the two of them, a video conference meeting, and he said, you know, if you're in London, maybe take a quick hop flight over to Copenhagen, we can meet face to face. And so they did this morning, also trying to inoculate, I think, some of the criticism around the trip from Republicans.
Right. They get 25 minutes with General McChrystal. As we see this split within the administration emerge, General McChrystal making the case publicly when we know that Joe Biden and other influential voices feel a lot differently about what the strategy would be. The White House wants to telegraph that they're giving this all kinds of due diligence, good deliberations along the way. 9.8. That is not an Olympic gymnastics score. It is our unemployment rate. Another bad month for jobs. This time, 263,000 jobs lost last month. And this comes just a day after Joe Biden says that the stimulus has exceeded all expectations, says 1 million jobs created, not just saved or created this time, if you're parsing the language. 1 million jobs created as a result of the stimulus. It's hard to talk about that when we continue to see the unemployment rate go up and creep toward double digits.
And the jobs losses, this 263,000, is much worse than what was anticipated. And obviously, they didn't hit that psychological mark of double digits and 10% yet. But clearly, the White House believes that that is still coming in the future, which means that we are nowhere near sort of the end of the pain of this economic downturn. And finally, catastrophic candidate. Yes, that's what the McCain campaign chief, Steve Schmidt, said this morning about Sarah Palin. Yeah, he was part of the team that chose Sarah Palin to run on the ticket with John McCain. But since last November, the Steve Schmidt versus Sarah Palin storyline has been intense. No love lost between these two. And today, Steve Schmidt said perhaps it's conceivable that Sarah Palin could win the GOP nomination in 2012. But he said it was inconceivable she could win the presidency, and it would be catastrophic for his party if she is the nominee.
And I am hitting refresh on Facebook all day long to see if she responds.
Very wise on your part. We're going to begin with the political debate of the day, healthcare especially. We're joined here by Democratic Governor Martin O'Malley, the vice chairman of the Democratic Governors Association and the chief executive in our neighbor to the north there in Maryland. Thank you for being here.
Good to be with you guys.
Governor O'Malley, I want to start on healthcare, if I may. I recall back in the summer at a National Governors Association meeting where all the nation's governors get together, there was a lot of concern, Democrats and Republicans both, that by getting so many more people covered with insurance, that one way the bill is doing that is to expand this eligibility of Medicaid. And of course, the states and the federal government share the cost of Medicaid. So and there was concern among your fellow governors and your fellow Democratic governors about this as well. Is this health care plan, let's say, gets 30 million people insured that don't have insurance now, is that largely on the back of the states?
No, it's not. In fact, if we do not change the status quo, there is no way that any state in the union is going to be able to afford the constantly escalating 7, 8, 9% annual increases. That NGA moment in Biloxi was a wonderful moment where we all came together as Democrats and Republicans, A, to say we really need health care reform, and B, none of us want to pay for it. But really the question is, what costs do we avoid? We do not mind, for example, I would not mind as governor, as I looked at the status quo, which would add $3.6 billion to our expenses for health care, both on the Medicaid and employer side, if instead we only had to pay $1 billion additional over the next 5 years, one would have to say that that's a step in the right direction. So really a lot of this is about cost avoidance. We have to pay a little bit more in order to realize the long-term savings and bring down the cost curve, and that's what the Obama administration is doing. And I'm very much encouraged by the direction in which it's going. We heard all sorts of things in Biloxi about how dogs and cats would be falling from the sky, every state would be bankrupt because of this, but the truth of the matter is that both the Senate versions and the House versions are actually moving to something that's good for states.
I want to ask you about the stimulus, because you're seeing the money get spent firsthand in Maryland and
Thank
in
God
many other
President
states.
Obama did it.
Thank God. Well, 263,000 jobs lost last month. Vice President Biden says we've created 1 million jobs. How do you square that when you continue to see the number of jobs lost going up, and him saying that there's new jobs being created?
Look, we were teetering on the brink of a second Great Depression. President Obama wisely took action, pushed the recovery bill through, and now we're all talking about, well, when exactly will the recovery kick in, instead of talking about splattering into the second Great Depression.
263,000 is a lot of jobs lost.
Sure, and the unemployment tail of this will lag behind the other indicators. But if you look at Maryland, for example, we've seen our unemployment actually start to level off. We've created more jobs than we've lost in 2 of the last 4 months. We're seeing our housing sales actually going up, and we see reasons for hope out there. And had he not done it, gentlemen, every state in the union would have been putting tens of thousands of teachers in unemployment lines, shoving people off of health care.
But does it also postpone some of the inevitable deeper pain that you may feel in the state? So we were just talking about health care. You said, okay, states are going to have to pay some more. There are going to be Medicaid eligibility is going to increase. There's one bill that you're going to have to pay a little bit more. This stimulus money on Medicaid, unemployment benefits, what have you, that's going to run out.
Sure.
And yet you're going to have this whole new pool of people that you're going to have to continue to pay for, and the federal dollars won't be there anymore, right?
Well, it was designed not to be there permanently. It was designed to protect our children's future, particularly in education and health care, and stabilize state budgets so that the states were not adding to those unemployment rolls. Gentlemen, none of us likes 9.8% unemployment, but I will bet you that it would have been more like 16 or 17% had President Obama not acted. So we are far better off because of the recovery and reinvestment dollars, despite all the people saying that we could not possibly spend it or apply it the right way. We are applying it. And the other good news is these dollars are creating new jobs that are actually going to benefit the economy for many years into the future. And it absolutely had to be done. Otherwise, we would have headed into a depression.
I want to ask about the Democratic Governors Association. You've got a
great organization,
and a lot of
women making tough decisions in tough times,
and a lot of Democratic governorships that you'll be defending in both in 2009 and in 2010. What kind of advice are you giving candidates about how to handle the associations with national Democrats and with President Obama when you see the support for Democratic leaders in Congress and President Obama's support personally softening?
Well, the best political advice that anyone could give to Democratic governors or those that aspire to be Democratic governors is to govern well and to tell people the truth about the choices that we have in front of us.
Do you have to distance yourself from Washington, from the national message, the national Democrats?
I don't believe you do. And in fact, I believe that actually for us in Maryland, we have actually are very much encouraged by having cabinet members that pick up the phone when we call, that are working on things like improving homeland security, improving health care, improving education. So I don't think it's a matter of running away or running to. I think it's a matter of governing well, making the tough decisions in these times. And over time, people appreciate, while as painful as they are at the moment those decisions are made, people in their chief executives, especially when we're facing unemployment and home foreclosures, they want men and women that are going to make the tough decisions regardless of politics. And so governing well is really the best political advice that any of us as incumbents have, and it's the best advice we can give to those that are challenging.
You want to guarantee victory in New Jersey and Virginia this year?
Sure, I'll guarantee it. Who's going to?
We'll have you back on. That's right.
We have exciting races in New Jersey and Virginia. We're fighting an uphill battle. It has not been since Ronald Reagan's first term, I think, that the first term president was actually able to hang on to those two off-year elections. But Creed Deeds is coming on in Virginia, John Corzine coming on in New Jersey.
We'll see.
We got your
We'll see
guarantee.
what
We're
those
excited
races
about
will
it.
do to sort of tell us what 2010 is about as well. Governor Martin O'Malley, Democrat of Maryland, thank you very much for
Gentlemen,
being here.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Don't go anywhere, folks. Republican and focus group guru, pollster Frank Luntz, coming up next on Top Line.